Arguably the greatest athlete on the planet, and not even a ton of people know his name. Shohei Ohtani is single-handedly changing the game of baseball right before our eyes, and it is being extremely overlooked. We are witnessing in real time a legend of the sport and a guy who could go down as the best to ever do it, and it's rarely getting talked about. How is that even possible? I understand that baseball is a dying sport for reasons that we will get into later, but for somebody who's revolutionizing America's most historic sport and it's rarely getting talked about is insane. Shohei Ohtani being the first actual two-way player to dominate baseball from pitching and at the plate is something we've never seen before, or at least for a while. Babe Ruth did it real early in his career from about 1915 to 1918 for about 4 seasons, but don't even get me started on how I feel about athletes that played the sport before 1970, especially athletes like Ruth that played the game over a century ago. Ohtani has the best bat in the game right now, sitting first in OPS, slugging, and home runs at the halfway mark of the MLB season. To go along with that, some could argue that he's top 5 in the game in pitching as well, sitting second in average against and third in strikeouts in the whole league. Now, while this is extremely impressive and this whole video is dedicated to giving him the acknowledgement and the praise that he deserves for changing the game of baseball, we have to slow down with the comparisons to other sports. Because I agree. Ohtani is the best athlete in the world right now. But I saw a tweet that said, Shohei Ohtani is like if Patrick Mahomes was the best corner in all of the NFL. Like, let's just give that a pause right there. The amount of effort and exertion it would take to play a physical game like football on both sides of the ball is unmatched. It's not the same. It's not even comparable. Baseball, you bat once every 9 people and you pitch once every 5 games. So we can slow down on those comparisons and those talks, but we're here to big up Shohei, right? We're here to big him up and get to the bottom of why his sport isn't marketing him the way that they should be. We live in such a fast-paced society right now where there's so many things that pull and tug at our time. There's social media, there's Twitter, there's Instagram, there's TikTok, there's YouTube, there's podcasts, there's TV, there's Netflix. There's so many things that pull at our time. The same goes with sports. You know, on a Monday night from September to January, you know exactly where you're gonna be for a 3-hour block because the NFL has your attention. With baseball, it has kind of turned into golf where you're not gonna sit down and stay tuned for a 3-hour game. It's just gonna be background noise while you get something else done. Which means you never truly get to invest into the players. You never truly get to invest into the game, learn their stories, learn their backgrounds, and feel like you're a part of the game itself. When times changed and society sped up somewhere around the end of the steroid era for baseball, the rest of the world adjusted and the MLB just stood still. Do you guys remember how great the league used to market their best players such as David Ortiz, Derek Jeter, Albert Pujols, Miguel Cabrera, Tim Lincecum, Clayton Kershaw, guys like that? Even the Yankees and the Red Sox rivalry was looked at as one of the best in all of sports. Nowadays, you barely even hear anybody talking about it anymore. Well, I'll tell you a big reason why I think the MLB fell so far behind the other core major sports. The traditionalists. Yes, the fans that were born before 1970 who hate celebrations on the bases, who can't stand the bat flips, and who hate players with a swagger and juice to their game. The league is trying to hold on so desperately to that proper, squeaky clean image that they think they had even after the steroid era. It's for the same reason that they won't elect the best player to ever play their game into the Hall of Fame. The league and its traditionalists just don't want any player to seem like they are bigger than the game itself. But I can tell you right now, by doing this, they are stunting their own growth as a league. I also pose a question, would Ohtani be marketed better if he was an American-born player? The name Shohei Ohtani obviously isn't American, but it's not even hard to say. And even if it was, so what? Ohtani doesn't speak great English, so what? I know some traditionalists that just don't want to see a Japanese-born player be the face of an American league like the MLB. But we are way past the time and far from the days of a Babe Ruth, Mickey Mantle, and Lou Gehrig league. It's just not those times anymore. Not only is Ohtani the best player in the league, he could single-handedly rebirth the excitement and buzz surrounding the MLB if the league would just let him. Do you remember what the NFL did after Odell Beckham Jr. came onto the scene with his one-handed catch, his crazy rookie year, his blonde hairs dancing in the end zone? They put all their chips in on OBJ and put him absolutely everywhere. You couldn't walk outside without seeing a kid with blonde hair and the same haircut as Odell, and you couldn't go to a high school or college football practice without seeing somebody trying to make a one-handed catch. Ohtani's name and face should be absolutely everywhere. He's literally doing for baseball what Steph Curry did for the game of basketball in 2015. He's just revolutionizing it. A decade later, and we are now seeing the major effects Steph Curry and the three-point shot have had on the game of basketball itself. But that is what makes Ohtani so great, is that a young hooper can go and develop his three-point shot and be a great three-point shooter. But not every young baseball player will be able to dominate pitching and in the batter's box at the same time. That's why we're truly seeing one of a kind with Ohtani, and the MLB is ruining what seems to be their last shot with the younger generations by not marketing him the way that they should be.